Hello and welcome back to my YouTube channel. I thought I'd just do a little bit of a book check-in and go through the book I've just read, the book I'm currently reading, and then the book I plan on reading next. So yeah, this will just be a little quick review of each book. Yeah, let's get into it. So the book I've just finished reading is Gold by Raven Kennedy. This is book 5 in the Guild series. If you don't know what the Guild series is, I did give it a quick review in my April wrap up, so go and check it out there. But I gave this book 3.25 stars. I really didn't know what to rate this book, so I won't give any spoilers for any of the books that I'm about to comment on, but this book had so much potential. But you know, when a book's really long, like, you can see how big it is. It was like 650 pages and nothing really happened. Like, all the events in this book, it didn't contribute that much to moving the plot along. Like, this book is so far away from what book 1 was. I just feel like it didn't do that much for me. But then the last 150 pages, like, as with any fantasy book, I fear, is where like the kind of like story moves along a little bit. There were kind of 2 plot twists as well at the end of this, which I did guess, and I guessed them a mile away. Like, the one plot twist, I feel like it hints at it in book, it's either 1 or 2, and I literally, the second it was almost hinted at, I was like, yeah, that's gonna happen. I don't know if it's because I've read, so this is a fae fantasy book. Have I read so many fae fantasy books now that any fae fantasy related plot points just like jump out at me now, because maybe there's less originality with it being such a common fantasy type at the moment. I'm not sure, but I did enjoy it, but it wasn't the best book I've ever read. I was getting frustrated by the end, like, you know, when you're like in the thick of a book and you can like, you clock watch, and I was like, I've got 30 pages left, like, how long is this going to take me to finish? So like I was like, let's just have this ended now, like, let's let this be over. But I will say, I made a comment about it before when I was first reading this series. Queen Melina is one of the points of views that you get chapters from, so this is you get multiple POVs, in which I do quite like in a fantasy book. I hated her chapters in the second book, but her chapters along with Osric saved this book for me. Like, I love when that happens. So I always compare it to Manon in the Throne of Glass series. When Manon first comes into Throne of Glass, her chapters were the most boring thing ever, and then by Kingdom of Ash, which is the last book in Throne of Glass series, I loved Manon's chapters. So Queen Melina was a Manon for me, and I actually really liked that kind of 180. So yeah, 3.25 stars. It was good. There's 1 book left in this series, so this was book 5, and then there is 1 other book left, but it's the book that I have just finished reading, Gold by Raven Kennedy. And then on to what I'm currently reading now. So I picked this cute little, it's called Wings of Starlight. It's like a Disney book. So I think the premises of this is, like, as you can see from the front cover, it's got a little fairy on. So this is fairy, not fairy. So fairy, like whimsical, not sexy fae males. It's about the like pixies and fairies from like the Disney universe, so Tinkerbell for example. The blurb of this, I'll just read you like the little snippet. I haven't read much, I've read like 70 pages so far, but I'm just really enjoying it. I just wanted a bit of an easy read, something light-hearted and nice after Gold felt a bit heavy. Discover the sweeping star-crossed romance between the Queen of Pixie Hollow and the Lord of the Winter Woods. So this is a whimsical fairy fantasy book that has forbidden romance. I was sold by that like little sentence already. I feel like this is like a YA version of A Midsummer's Night Dream. Like, it's given that, like, you know, summer fairies versus winter fairies, like how whimsical this seems so far. Also, we got introduced to Millery, who's one of the winter fairies, and he's literally giving Rowan Whitethorn vibes. It literally said he had white hair that was pulled back from his face, like top half up, the rest was down, with his pointed ears, and yep, I'm sold. I just love a bit of fairy, like really whimsical fairy. I'm really excited to kind of like read this. I think it might feel a little bit childish because I think it is very YA, but like, I love all the like fairy like different courts, and the fact that it's like forbidden romance. I was sold on that. So yeah, quite looking forward to this. It's only about 400 pages as well, so I think it'll just be like a nice light read that's really whimsical, because don't get me wrong, I really love all the fae books, but I also really love fairy books. Like, fairy books I think where like my fantasy love for fantasy comes from. So I'm quite looking forward to getting into this, getting my teeth into this. So yeah, I'll do a review once I've finished reading this one. And then the books that I'm thinking of reading next, I've got 3 options. The first is Goldfinch, which is book 6 and the final instalment in the Guild series by Raven Kennedy. Like I said, I'm a little bit nervous to read this because I think I don't know if I think it'll feel like a chore at the moment, so I might wait to read this one until like I'm really dying to know how it ends. The next book option is Enchantra. So last year I read Phantasma and really enjoyed it. I devoured it. So Phantasma follows Ophelia as the main girl, and then Enchantra follows her sister. So I'm quite looking forward to this. I don't know if I like reading a book where like, do you know, like it swaps POV from the main character to a different character, so we'll see what happens. But Enchantra is the next book. Really excited. I kind of think I could get into a bit of a gothic-y feel, a gothic-y read, especially after the Wings of Starlight. This is obviously going to be really like cutesy and light-hearted, hopefully, and like really like fairy whimsical, so a bit of like darkness and, you know, gothic-y is maybe what I'll fancy next. And then the last option of possible next reads is The Night and the Moth. So this is by the author of One Dark Window. If you know me and have followed any of my social medias for the past few months, last year when I read One Dark Window, I made that duology my whole personality. I just loved it. I love how poetic and well written One Dark Window is. I like how the characters are developed. I liked the magic system. I just liked everything about it. So to know that she's brought out a new book series, I'm quite excited. A new book, I'm quite excited to see what happens. This is about prophetesses, so they're diviners or whatever. That's the only thing I'm not sure I'm excited about. I read Vespertine a few years ago, and I don't know why when I read the blurb of this it was like giving Vespertine a little bit, but I am really excited to read this as well. So yeah, I have just finished reading Gold. I am now reading The Wings of Starlight, and then the options are The Night and the Moth, Enchantra, or Goldfinch. So let me know in the comments which book you think I should read next, and also let me know what you're reading, what you've just read, and what you want to read next. And that was just a whistle stop tour through what I've read, what I'm reading, and what I will read next. So see you in the next video.